I've recently 100%ed all of the 3D Mario games, starting with 3D World and ending with 3D Land. My feelings on them vary, and this journey did take a while, but it was well worth the wait to do all this and to get all these games. The 3D Mario series is amazing, and to quote the famous Scott the Woz, whenever a new 3D Mario comes out, it is absolutely an event. So today, I'm going to be ranking all the 3D Mario games from worst to best. And of course, I will be including Bowser's Fury and Mario 64 DS on their own as well, since they deserve a chance too. Starting off with number 9 is Mario 64. This might be surprising considering this is easily the most revolutionary game on the list, but I have my reasons. Let's get the positives out of the way. Mario 64 is revolutionary, as I said. It was Nintendo's first 3D platformer, and many people cherish it for that very reason. There are a lot of memories people have made, the speedrunning community is huge, all the glitches are really interesting, and all that. And the whole unsettling aurora people get from the game. So why is it at the bottom? Well, it may have some pretty darn good levels and be famous, but for the most part, I just don't really enjoy coming back to this one all too much. 100%ing is a chore, as a lot of these 100 coin stars and levels in general just don't feel very fun or fleshed out. Rainbow Ride and TikTok Clock are easy examples, but other levels such as Snowman's Land and Dire Docks and Shifting Sandland just bore me. There's something about this game that makes it unfun to replay. The camera and controls might also have something to do with it, same as the boot out system. But overall, I just don't like this one as much as most people do. Number 8 is Super Mario 64 DS. After playing this port for a while, and it is my least played 3D Mario game, I have made the realization that this is indeed better than the original. After all, you get Luigi, Yoshi, Wario, although he's hardly useful. You get to switch between caps in each level, the textures are much better, there are 30 additional stars, although I wouldn't say any of them are amazing. Some cool extra levels that, albeit are short, but still nice. And then there's a whole selection of minigames, and this is easily the best thing about this game, because these minigames are a lot of fun, really enjoyable. Overall, I like 64 DS quite a bit. I hope it could come to Switch someday. But, of course, the camera and controls are still bothersome, just like the original, and any problems I have with the original's levels still stay here, so the game couldn't make it much higher than this, but I still do like it a nice bit, and you should try it out for yourself. Number 7 is Super Mario Sunshine. This game used to be at number 3 on my list, but I've changed my opinion a lot. Now sure, Isle Delfino is a very creative and inventive setting. I really like the soundtrack, and even though they reuse the same theme like 9 times throughout the game, it's always interesting. The controls are very fluid. That and the camera were a lot better than Mario 64 at the time, even if they do show their issues nowadays. The biggest problem with this game is that, well, it's just rushed. The camera can be annoying at times, but that's not the big complaint here. My main complaint is that you have to do all these shines in order, which is pretty annoying, and over half of them in the game, yes, over half of them, you don't even need to beat the game, so a lot of the game just feels kind of worthless if you're not going for 100%, but a lot of these levels can be pretty annoying. Then there's the blue coins. That's an easy target, and they're definitely an issue, but my main problem is that this game feels very restrictive. 100%ing it is absolutely a chore, even more so than 64. But yet still, I can't help but feel that I should always replay this game, because it definitely has its moments. Serena Beach is still a really fun level, and I really love exploring that level in particular. Overall, Sunshine's a great game, just not one of my favorites, and it does have its issues. Number 6 is incredibly surprising, but it's gotta be Super Mario Odyssey. This might come as a surprise, but I haven't really talked about Odyssey a lot on this channel before. Now, let's talk about the best part of the game, easily the kingdoms. These kingdoms can be fantastic, seriously. Sand Kingdom, Luncheon Kingdom, Metro Kingdom, a lot of people love them. They have really interesting story arcs, and, you know, they have some interesting visuals, some pretty cool bosses. It goes beyond those 3 kingdoms, of course. There's some pretty great ones here. Sure, there's some lackluster ones, like the Ruined Kingdom and the Cloud Kingdom, which are on the smaller side, but hey, that's alright. The soundtrack is also really good, too. One of the best of the 3D Marios. So what's the big issue here? The padding. Oh Oh, there is so much padding. There are 880 moons in this game, and over half of them are not at all fun to collect. They're repetitive, they're annoying. There's just something about them that always bothers me whenever I 100% this game again. It just feels depressing going through every kingdom once more on another trip around the world just to get all these annoying repetitive moons. It's a big issue I have with the game, and it keeps it from wanting me to replay it. Plus, there's the fact that because the game always rewards you with the moon, there aren't really any surprises, and you never really feel satisfied getting one. This might just seem like one issue, but it really is a big flaw with the game that I notice more and more while we playing. But the controls are very fun, and capturing is an interesting idea, even if it could have been fleshed out more than it already was. Number 5's gotta be Mario 3D Land. Don't have much to say about this one, and you might be pretty surprised to see it above Odyssey. Simply put, it's a fun platformer. Generic and poised on the safe side? Oh, definitely. But hey, this was the first time that we got an original handheld 3D Mario game, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of these levels have really interesting concepts, like wooden platforms you have to jump on that are being cut up by saw gears, clock towers you gotta move around in, and they're not annoying like they could be in 64. Snow areas with a bunch of bouncy mushrooms, an expansive desert which you can use a bunch of cannons in, a spike fortress. It's pretty cool. It might seem pretty generic nowadays, but back then, this was, well, almost revolutionary for the time. It's a really fun game. Combine that with the return of the Tanuki suit, which is always a fun power-up, the good visuals for the 3DS, and the fact that it was one of the few games to actually use the system well, like the system's 3D effect, and the controls being good, and you got yourself a really fun Mario platformer. Sure, it might be safe, but I've never really gotten frustrated this one the way I have with the games I previously mentioned. Number 4 has gotta be Super Mario Galaxy 2. The big issue I have with this game is that it takes way too much from its predecessor. Its story feels a lot more generic, which is disappointing, seeing that this is a Mario Galaxy game after all. The music is still very good, of course, but a lot of these levels just repeat concepts, such as Shiverburn Galaxy is another Fire and Ice Galaxy, Slipsand Galaxy, another desert level. The levels aren't as open, and sure, Galaxy ones weren't either, but these ones just wanna be linear as possible, but they don't fully commit to them because they get booted out, which is annoying. Then there's the green stars. Yet still, places like the Chomp Works and Flipsville and Starshine Beach, these are some really creative galaxies, and I really like them. Combine that with the awesome soundtrack and some pretty neat power-ups such as the Cloud Flower and Rock Mushroom, and you got yourself a pretty good game, even if it does feel repetitive at times. Number 3 is the original Super Mario Galaxy. For whatever reason, I used to not like these games for a little while, but they are really fun, especially the first one, seeing as how it's much more original. The soundtrack is amazing, as we all know, with gems like A Gusty Garden and Good Egg Galaxy and Battle Rock. They're all really good. The controls are really good for the time, and although those motion control galaxies can be a bit irksome, this is still a very fun game, and a lot of these places are really fun to visit, such as Freeze Flame, Gusty Garden, Toy Time. It's a very creative game with a very nice atmosphere, and it's easy to see why so many people loved it back then and nowadays. It fixes a lot of sunshine issues, and it's overall just a very fun experience. Number 2 is Bowser's Fury. Bowser's Fury might be a short game, but don't let that take you away from the fact that this is amazing. Bowser's Fury is this huge, expansive world, but all of it is interconnected with linear islands. This might sound like it doesn't work, but it really does. You have places with interesting concepts, such as Risky Whisker Island, which has a bunch of these donut blocks, and then you have levels like Roiling Roar Island with these switching platforms on lava. It's overall just a very fun game. I really love the cat theme too. Very adorable. A lot of these cat giants are satisfying to collect. There's no boot out system, and there aren't too many of these collectibles like there were in Odyssey. It's a very fun game. Oh yeah, and Fury Bowser's really cool too. And we finally get a return to Bowser Jr. What more could you ask for? It's a fantastic game. Is it short? Sure, but it's a lot of fun. Oh yeah, Plessy is great too, and the soundtrack. And number 1 has got to be none other than Super Mario 3D World. What a fantastic game. The multiplayer is so fun, so many interesting ideas like circus levels, or savannas, or shadows, just so cool. You could turn into a cat. The soundtrack is amazing with all of its jazz. It's overall a very fun game, and if you don't have it, yeah, I definitely recommend picking up for Switch. This and Bowser's Fury are amazing. So that's my list. You might have disagreed with me, but if so, leave your opinions in the comments. Well, thank you for watching, and tell me what's your favorite 3D Mario game. See ya.